Regret clouded his eyes. Do you love this Oliver guy? He's a good guy. We're good together. He searched my face. Didn't hear the word love. It doesn't matter. I waved my hand back and forth between the two of us. We're not going to happen, Gray. A slow smile stretched across his handsome face. Yes, we are. You can fight it all you want. He leaned his face to mine. In fact, I want you to fight it. Fight it tooth and nail. It will make it that much better for both of us when you finally give in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my review of The Naked Truth by a best-selling author by Keeland, who also wrote the very popular Boss Man and Egomaniac. Poor Gray. He just got out of prison for a crime he didn't commit, and now he wants to start a new company and win back the woman that he loves. And just as it seems that he's able to do it, then some really unforeseen and unfortunate obstacles come into his way. So, will he give up, or will he conquer them all? Gray is the sexy hunk of this story. He's handsome, he's intelligent and confident. And he is actually not very bright when it comes to relationships. He was already married once and it didn't work out. And now that he's trying to win back Layla's heart, then he is not exactly... He's doing quite many things right, but also quite many things wrong that I couldn't really relate to. And sometimes it was hard for me to sympathize with him, but he also has his softer side, the one that he doesn't really show so much. He is also very vulnerable. He struggles with confidence at times, and he can even be hurt. And that's very nice. It's not like he's this typical macho man that is really perfect in everything. Layla is a sexy and intelligent attorney who works for a really large legal firm. And ever since she ended her affair with Gray a year ago, she feels like she moved on. She is building her career, she's very successful, and she's also dating a guy from the same firm. But when Gray shows up, then she's really tested with all her conviction. And it even turns out that she has to overcome this stigma that she has from her childhood because her father had two families. He had her and her mother and also another woman with whom he had a child. And he had to split his time between those two. And she never really got over that. She still feels like it wasn't right, but that was the life that she had. And now she is unsure if the same thing couldn't happen to her. So when Gray comes back, then all these doubts and all these aspirations that she has to reconsider them. But she does it in a way that sometimes you would condemn her for that. And on the other hand, you would kind of feel where she's coming from. So she can be a very conflicting character. I really struggled with romance in this story, especially because it was hard for me to see why they should come back together, because this was a second chance type of story. And it showed sometimes that Layla was attracted to Gray, but it's not like she really wanted him. She even admitted straight out that she loved him even though she didn't want to. And Gray was really trying so hard to win her back. But it never felt like Layla really wanted to work for it, to do her part, that she really was all that intrigued about him and or even passionate or doing anything to get him back. She was kind of just being like shrugging about everything. He was asking her out and she just said okay, and there was really a little passion from her side about Gray. And sometimes her behavior was quite confusing also, because at this one party, she overheard some other people bad-mouthing Gray, just talking bad things about him, and afterwards she just went up to him and started making out with him, as if it was some kind of turn-on. And throughout the whole story, and I will get to it in another section, but the romance didn't really support the sexual attraction that much. And oftentimes it felt like Gray was just trying so hard for her, even though he could easily start making much better connection with another woman. And the first half of the story was quite interesting to read, because most of us men, we sometimes mess up and we want to win back the heart of the woman that we lost. And it was nice and relatable. But the second half of the story, the romance stepped back, and Gray had to deal with really, really dark things. And it didn't feel like Layla was all that supportive about it. And because of that, it felt so dark, and I couldn't really enjoy the romance because of it. I wouldn't recommend reading this book just for the sexual scenes. There are only a few of them, and only the last one is really passionate. And especially for me, it was quite hard reading, because I couldn't focus on that passion. I was so focused on what was going on with Gray, because I related to him, because I was always thinking like, oh, okay, is this how I would be getting the woman that I love back into my life? And then how I would deal with all the things that he would have to, especially in the second half of the story. And then when the story got much darker, then it took away this joy that I had. And the main protagonists only had sex with each other, even though there were possible other partners, such as Layla's new boyfriend. But the sex here was quite basic, and I felt like it wouldn't have to be there at all. But maybe you feel different, so if you like, then you can comment down below on how you felt about sex in this book. Writing, for the most part, in this story was quite well done. Keeland is very well known for being able to write decent characters that are very relatable in many ways. Gray, despite being this sexy hunk and very confident and good-looking and all that, he still had his softer side. He still felt more like a complete human rather than somebody that we just take face value. And the same with Layla. Even though she was this intelligent, hardworking woman who had everything going for her, she also had her burdens that she had to carry and these issues that she had to overcome. Even though sometimes both characters' behavior didn't make sense to me, for the most part they dealt with the issues in a quite mature way. What I didn't like about the writing was, however, the plot twist. I already mentioned it before, that around half of the story, everything turned much darker, and I felt like it wouldn't have to, that it was needless, that it would be just good enough if it was about Gray trying to win Layla back, and then maybe focusing on their common future, on what Layla's career would be and how Gray would be building his company and trying to clear up his name after his jail time. So I felt like this could easily be separated into two stories, into two different stories, and that would make much more sense to me, and it would feel much enjoyable. Beyond the fact that I already mentioned before, that I would need more explanation or reason for actually wanting to see these two characters being together. that they would really want to, but they would still have to overcome who they were. If you haven't read anything by Keeland before and like second chance type of stories, then you might want to try this one. But if you enjoyed books like Egomaniac or Bossman, then this will feel like a step down. I would say that there were some really nice moments in this book, that there were some quotes that I even memorized, and it had its bright moments, but overall I think that you can find much better examples of this type out there. And with this, I conclude my review. I thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video. Have a great night.